Hey, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to tackle two of the biggest buzzwords you hear all the time, especially in tech, Agile and Scrum. So you've definitely heard these words, right? They're everywhere, in meetings, on job postings, but what do they actually mean? And hey, are they even different things? Let's be honest, it can get pretty confusing. So today, we're going to clear all of that up, once and for all. All right, so here's the plan. We'll kick things off with the big idea. What is Agile? Then we'll get into the why, its core principles. After that, we'll see how Scrum is different. Then we'll meet the team, and finally, we'll walk through the entire Scrum cycle. Sound good? Let's jump in. Okay, first up, the big idea. Let's talk about what Agile actually is. And you know what? It's probably a lot simpler than you think. So at its core, Agile really just boils down to two big ideas. First, it's iterative. That just means you do things in repeating cycles. You plan a little, build a little, test a little, and then you do it all over again. The second idea is that it's incremental. This means that with every single one of those cycles, you're adding a new, finished piece to the puzzle. I love this analogy. Think about building a house. Instead of building the entire foundation, then all the walls, then the roof, with Agile, it's like you're building one completely finished, usable room at a time. You get value way, way faster. Okay, so that's the what of Agile. But what about the why? Why are so many companies jumping on this bandwagon? Well, it all comes down to a handful of core principles. The whole Agile mindset is really about prioritizing a few key things. First off, speed. You're delivering actual working software fast in these small, bite-sized pieces. Second, and this is a big one, it welcomes change. You know how projects go, right? The customer changes their mind. Well, Agile is built for that flexibility. And finally, it's all about collaboration. We're talking constant communication with the customer and just as important within the team. No more silos. Everyone works together every single day. And this quote right here just nails it. The biggest win is for the customer. They don't have to wait a year to see something. They get a real, usable piece of the software every few weeks. Think about that. It means they can give feedback early, the team can course correct, and value gets delivered so much faster. Okay, now we're getting to the big one. This is where most people get tripped up. If all that stuff is Agile, then what in the world is Scrum? Let's settle this debate right now. Here it is, the key difference. Just think of it like this. Agile is the big idea. It's the philosophy. It's the mindset. Scrum, on the other hand, is one specific way to put that philosophy into practice. It's a framework, a set of rules. Here's a great way to think about it. Agile is like saying, I want to be healthy. That's the mindset, right? Scrum is like a specific diet plan with specific rules, recipes, and schedules that help you become healthy. So Scrum isn't Agile. Scrum is a way to do Agile. So now we know Scrum is the framework, the recipe. Let's meet the chefs who actually make it all happen. Let's meet the Scrum team. A Scrum team is pretty specific. It's designed to be small and have all the skills it needs to get the job done. We call that cross-functional. And it's always made up of three distinct roles: the product owner, the Scrum master, and the development team. And to make this super simple, let's give them some nicknames. First up, the product owner. They are the voice of the customer. Their job is all about the what. What should the team build next? They own the vision. Next, you've got the Scrum Master. Think of them as the coach of the process. They're focused on the how, making sure the team follows the Scrum framework and getting rid of any obstacles in their way. And finally, the development team. These are the builders. They're the amazing folks who actually design, build, and test the software. They make it all happen. All right. So we have met the players on the field. Now, before we watch the game, we need to understand a few key terms they use. Think of these as the playbook and the scoreboard they use to manage all the work. First, you have the product backlog. This is basically the master to-do list for the entire project. It's a giant prioritized wish list of every single feature, fix, and idea. The product owner is in charge of it, and it's the one and only source of truth for all the work that needs to be done. Now, all the actual work gets done in what are called sprints. A sprint is really the heartbeat of Scrum. It's a short, time-boxed cycle, usually somewhere between 1 and 4 weeks long. And here's the key. The goal of every single sprint is to create a potentially shippable working piece of the product. No exceptions. So, how do they decide what to do in a sprint? Well, at the very beginning, the team looks at that giant product backlog and pulls a small chunk of work off the top. That small chunk becomes the sprint backlog. That's it. It's their focused to-do list for this sprint and this sprint only. It's their promise of what they'll deliver. Okay, so we've got the team. We've got their playbook. Now it's time to put it all together. Let's walk through what an actual Scrum cycle looks like from start to finish. All right, let's follow the ball. The whole process kicks off with an event called sprint planning. This is where the entire team gets together, looks at that big master list, the product backlog, and pulls off a chunk of work they believe they can finish. That becomes their sprint backlog. And then, boom, the sprint begins. For the next 1 to 4 weeks, the team is heads down, focused only on that work. To keep everyone in sync, they have a super quick 15-minute meeting every single morning called the Daily Scrum. Then, when the sprint is over, 2 really important things happen. First is the sprint review. This is show and tell time. The team demonstrates the actual working thing they built. We're not talking slides. This is a live demo for stakeholders. Immediately after that, the team huddles up for the sprint retrospective. This meeting is just for them. It's where they ask, okay, what went well? What didn't? How can we get even better next time? And then the cycle repeats. The very next day, they're right back in sprint planning for the next sprint. It's a constant rhythm of delivering, inspecting, and adapting. So if you're going to walk away with just one thing today, let it be this. Agile is the mindset. It's the philosophy of delivering value piece by piece, early and often. And Scrum? Scrum is the most popular recipe out there that tells you exactly how to do it, with its specific roles, meetings, and to-do lists. Agile is the why, Scrum is the how. And that kind of brings us to a final, bigger question, doesn't it? We've gone through the whole recipe for Scrum, but what really makes a team agile? Is it just about going through the motions and checking all the boxes? Or is it something deeper, about truly embracing that mindset of collaboration, flexibility, and always getting better? It's something to think about. Thanks for joining me on this explainer.